Hi, my name's Chief, like the guy from the Jack Nicholson movie, more specifically the book the movie adapted, but that's not important. My first review came out in January, so I figured it'd be appropriate to use the GOTY video to reflect on the previous year. You know, blog a little. So I started reviewing games for three major reasons. 1. I love video games and I wanted to prove to myself I understood them to some degree. 2. I went on anxiety meds which gave me the ability to appreciate my own works. And 3. I played Slarpshy, a game I'd been waiting for since its announcement, and it was so fucking good I could not stop myself from talking about it online. Over the last year I've learned a bit about recording and capture software, a lot about writing and articulating, and a fuck ton about video editing. Any positive or negative comment you have about my reviews would be invaluable to me. I like to think I've listened to the feedback I've gotten over the last year, though I may have overcorrected at times. This is the longest I've ever worked on a personal project. Like I said, before I became medicated I hated all my own work, but now I can look back with what I hope is a healthy balance of self-respect and rumination. Every video I've made has felt like an accomplishment, and I hope to keep making them for as long as I can. Or at least until I have something better to do. And just remember, this list is only my opinion. Don't worry if your GOTY isn't on here. It just means you're an idiot, and you have dog shit taste. Number 10 is Remake 4. Remake 4 is a miraculous title that not only lives up to the original RE4's legacy but improves on it by keeping segments that worked and tightening up segments that didn't. Adding macro elements to the game like Chivos and an in-game completionist shot makes doing reruns of the game even more fun than the original. An otherwise excellent title is bogged down with modern Capcom quality of life DLC, a funny money I was fully willing to pay for. I give the parry an 8 out of 10. It's a great tool and a lot of fun to use, but the limited durability is frustrating. Remakes get bottom billing. Number 9 is Chop Goblins, a fun bite-sized shooter with great level design, solid music, and tons of replay value. The parry is a 2 out of 10. It's fun to pull off but rarely lives up to its full potential. Number 8 is Baldur's Gate 3, an excellent CRPG that perfectly emulates the do-anything, go-anywhere attitude of tabletop games, with the added bonus that if you share your stories at the water cooler, your coworkers may actually know what the fuck you're talking about. The simple addition of a context-insensitive jump introduces an interesting wrinkle to both combat and exploration, and makes the world feel much more real and treacherous than a typical CRPG. I used to think 5e was a restrictive, uninteresting system until playing through Baldur's Gate, where I realized that Larian's changes to the system make it perfect for party-based CRPGs, whereas my beloved and handsome Pathfinder is better for making my own special and perfect boy. The Warlock's parry Hellish Rebuke kicks ass. It's an excellent spell that deals high damage and can be cast without prep as long as you have the spell slots. 7 out of 10. Number 7 is Sea of Stars, a solid indie RPG with more going on than it initially seems. The early game can be a bit of a slog at times, especially the introductory flashback, but it picks up steam once you get to the Stonemason's outpost. The world is beautifully realized and always fun to look at, and there's a healthy dose of whimsy in the design. The developer's previous game was the surprisingly good platformer The Messenger, whose influence is felt in the level design, which receives particular focus. The Interact button functions as a traversal button. The characters are trained warriors and will not be stopped on their quest by a waist-high ledge. The actionization of RPG gameplay is prevalent in the combat too. Almost every move in the game can be enhanced via action command, and doing so is essential to managing combat properly, even if the game tells you otherwise. The character's primary motivation isn't that compelling, and the plot feels like it meanders a bit at times, but a few wrinkles in the mid to late game got me more invested. The game will dangle some plot threads for a long time before it finally decides to pull on them, but when it does there's some cool shit to see. There is no true parry, but Sea of Stars gets onto the list for being the second best looking game of the year. But I didn't play Cyberpunk. Number 6 is Hi-Fi Rush, a fantastic game that mixes character action combat with rhythm elements, resulting in an incredibly unique experience. The story seems cringy at first glance, but the earnestness of the writing and acting really holds it together. Chai evolves from a bumbling shithead into a bumbling, responsible young man who cares for his friends, and the metamorphosis feels earned. I give the parry a 7 out of 10. It's a great tool in combat, but the QTEs it enables tend to outstay their welcome. Number 5 is Lunacid, a freaky dungeon crawler about dreams and nightmares. Overall, the exploration is great, backed with an excellent soundtrack and atmosphere, but the combat leaves a lot to be desired. I used a melee build and was very disappointed when it proved ineffective against the final boss. but my warrior's pitiful intelligence was enough to shred the final boss with a few late game spells. The moon mechanic will probably be fun on replays, but in the week I played Lunacid, it didn't impact much beyond needing to change my system clock to get the final ending. Without a parry, Lunacid would be banned from Game of the Year 2023, but gets a pass for being the second best sounding game of the year. I didn't play Cyberpunk though. Number 4 is Pikmin 4, a greatest hits collection of Pikmin. It takes the best mechanics of every previous game in the series and puts them in a blender to deliver an experience that might just be the best. The inclusion of the dog co-captain was an excellent idea that adds a lot of methodology to planning and execution. Unfortunately, without a parry, Pikmin 4 is banned from GOTY 2023. Number 3 is Octopus Tangler 2, an excellent title that tells 8 stories at once and connects them all in a way that doesn't feel contrived. Every story holds a good amount of weight. In one way or another, every playable character feels like the protagonist of the game. Combat is fun, keeping the player actively thinking about every turn, and the music is simply incredible. I give the parry a 4 out of 10. It's useful, but it's not an active parry, just a status effect. Number 2 is Pseudo Regalia, an excellent 3D Metroidvania, a sorely underrepresented genre that makes just moving around the world fun, a feat that hasn't been accomplished in a 3D platformer since Mario Sunshine. The parry is a 6, it's kinda fun to pull off, but it's only useful on projectiles and offers no combat advantages. Okay, I know maybe I'm a bit of a normie for this one, but everybody saw it coming. This one's been on everybody's radar since we got our first look in 2019. My GOTY this year is fucking Pizza Tower, a fast-paced, hair-raising, anxiety-inducing platformer that takes inspiration from Wario Land and Sonic but manages to rise above both of them by tweaking each level to perfection and opening up Peppino's moveset. The music is fucking stellar. Every track in the game is at least great, and most of them are excellent. Peppino's rage and anxiety are infectious, but so are his joy and relief. If I ever see Pepperman in real life, it's on fucking sight. I give the parry a perfect 10 out of 10. It's an excellent tool in battle and out, but Pizza Tower never forces you to rely on it, and missing a parry rewards the player with a taunt. The new Zelda game came out too. It's okay. I'll give the parry like a 6. They removed the most fun enemy to parry. The Guardians from Breath of the Wild. Those are gone.